If you're watching this in your age 18, make sure you optimize for the day. And that's what I do. People say, what do you do? I said, optimize my day. Each day. I don't project out 7 years from now. I might plan for 7 years out. There's a difference. But you don't optimize for 7 years out. You optimize for the moment. The only known thing. You know, I'm not the dumbest person in the world. I'm not the smartest. I've been in Mensa since I was 6 years old. I can hold my own intellectually. I challenge any person of any intellectual stature. You know, I recently talked to Richard Dawkins. I know these people that are smart. Disprove my theory. Show me why you should, when you're 19, make your life shit so that hopefully your life will be better at 40. Prove it. Why? And if you're a Richard Dawkins type person, you're going to be an atheist. A lot of those guys are atheists. Not all of them. Christopher Hitchens. Well, then you believe that you could die. There's no fate. You could die at any moment. So why would you not optimize for 19? And then once you get 20, you optimize for 20. Again, you can plan for the future, and a wise person saves money for the future and all that stuff. All that common sense stuff still applies within the worldview and the frame that I'm giving you. But this is, and just take it to me if you want, I will open the debate for any smart person to try to debate this with me. It's too strong of an argument to be beaten by anybody. I've read 10,000 books. I've read the great philosophers. I know Will Durant. I've read Aristotle, Socrates. You know, it was interesting. My grandma was in La Jolla, the most Nobel Prize winners in the world. She had me with the #1 living philosopher in the world. Very fascinating guy. I think he might have died. He's like 80 or 90 years old. And so I've been around intellectual giants, and I respect them. You can't beat my argument. Now, my argument goes back to, if for those of you who are philosophy majors, you know, there's Stoics, there's Epicureans. This sounds a little more Epicurean, which is eat, drink, be merry, for tomorrow we die. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I am not Epicurean. I am not saying do cocaine. I'm not saying YOLO, you only live once. I'm saying you optimize for the moment, but in optimizing for the moment, you also predict that you'll probably be alive tomorrow. So you do too much cocaine, you're not optimizing for the good life, because cocaine will increase your chance of, you know, fucking dying for tomorrow. So it's a balancing act of long and short term. Most entrepreneurs, very long term. I've fallen in this trap. I'm as guilty as anybody. I'm telling you the hard way. I learned the hard way, and I didn't learn as hard of a way because I had smart mentors. If you want to, I don't know, become an artist, you better start painting today. You want to play piano? Get on it. Don't be doing this shit. Well, I used to have a business partner that always tell me he's going to lose weight in 3 months. 3 months. He was always like, I need about 3 months to gear up for it and stretch. I'm like, no, you don't, and I can predict you'll never do it. You optimize for right now. You watch this video, go do something. Go do something that brings you the good life. But no, there's certain objective things. Don't, because people become delusional about the good life. They say, well, the good life for me, Tai, doesn't entail physical health. Nah, really? Really? You want to get a disease and then tell me that doesn't ruin your quality of life? Now, if you already have the disease, then you have to optimize around what best you have. But if you can prevent it, and everybody eventually dies of heart failure, just so you know. 100% humans die of heart failure. So eventually, everything I'm saying gives out anyway. There's no perfect formula in an imperfect world. But there is what there is now. And what there is now is you can optimize today. And you a little bit optimize and think about tomorrow, and you a little bit think about 7 years from now. But the 4 pillars, health, wealth, love, and happiness. Health is pretty simple in the modern world. You have to stay lean. You have to stay lean and relatively muscular as a man or a woman. You know, girls want good butts. Well, that's muscle. You don't need, as most women, although there's a lot of exceptions to this, don't want to be quite as muscular as a man. You know, a guy, your BMI should be around 24 to 25. For girls, it's a little bit lower, you know, BMI. You can look it up and calculate it. Now, there's some variance for body types and whether you're a pro bodybuilder or a football player, but for the most part, you gotta have a little waist if your waist as a guy is more than about 32 inches, unless you're a huge guy like Rome, you know, that 6'6", 350 pounds, your waist got to be under 32 inches for the most part. If you're a woman, it's even smaller. And that's not so that you can appear beautiful. Forget that. I'm not talking about societal norms. I'm talking about physiological norms. You got to do it. If you aren't doing it, then you must put tremendous power into doing it. Even if your career is pushed back, you make less money. Same with a lot of people have this thing, I won't find love because I'm working on myself. This is this myth that's being pushed around, just a garbage myth with no statistical proof. For the most part, all self-made billionaires were married young. So you can just, even though I'm not married, so I'm not the perfect example of this, I still am objective and will tell you the truth. Whether or not my life has, I have done a lot of things not perfectly. So I'm telling you the truth. All those people saying, well, I'm gonna work on myself. No, you're not. What you're doing in the Hexaco personality test, which is the most scientific study of how humans are built emotionally. There's 26 facets. There's 6 main personality attributes: honesty, humility, emotionality, extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. And each of those break into 4, and one of them breaks into 6 sub-facets. One of the facets is dependence and sentimentality, which are part of emotionality. To be happy, you have to be somewhat dependent. People will say, I'm going to do it on my own. There was a great poet in the 1800s who said, no one is an island. No one's an island. So you must attach yourself to good people. You should find love romantically relatively early in life. You're built that way. So if you're going, a lot of women, a lot of guys are like, I'm going to get married at 40. Well, your emotionality, sentimentality, your hormonal makeup will not be optimized for that. Probably the best time to get married is 25 to 30. Below that, divorce goes way up. If you get married at 16, 17, you can just look at the facts. But getting married, a lot of women get married at 38. Well, at 38, if you want to have kids, and about 95% of women at one point will realize they want to have kids. So I'm not saying, there's a lot of 20-year-old girls that go, I never want kids. The odds are, as your brain changes, as your hormones change, as estrogen levels change, as you get into different parts, 95% of women who can have children will have children. The problem is, if you wait till 38, 39, it's a little more complicated. So if you are watching this and you're older, you don't need to be discouraged, because you can just optimize for where you are, and nobody's perfect, and you can still have a good life. But for those of you who still got the chance, optimize to find and become a person who can find real love. And we live in a world that's very detached. And I lived with the Amish for 2.5 years. I've seen that, people are like, why'd you live? When everybody else was partying and even entrepreneurs making money, my friends in Silicon Valley started making money in 19 or 20, I was living on a farm for 10 years. Not quite 10, 8 years. And the reason was I was learning other things that had nothing to do with money. And I would never change that. Even if I could have made money earlier, I wouldn't, because of what I learned from those role models and those mentors, I have a better life than almost any entrepreneur I meet. And I'm not saying that cocky, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to inspire you that if you follow smart principles, you will get a reward. And you probably can have a much better life than me. I'm not the best at this, but I'm focused on the right target. And I can tell you that with all certainty. The good life is the only noble target to seek. It'll help society, because as you make your life optimized, genuinely, you rub off on other people and you optimize their life too. When you only seek money, you're going to create a world where everybody only optimizes for maximum profit, which is where McDonald's comes from, which is no good for society. That's where mega corporations, that's where tobacco comes from. People optimizing to make the most money. But nobody's thinking at the end of the day, do you want to be 75? It's even Ray A. Kroc. He started McDonald's, 52 years old. He started McDonald's. I look up to him as an entrepreneur for his skills and technical, but his goal wasn't noble. He ended up, it's a sad thing. His kids died of diabetes before he did. No one should bury their own kids if they can help it. But if you create a world where everybody eats junk food, your kids might eat junk food. Now, I don't know the story, so I'm not going to judge that specific thing, but that's the general pattern that will happen. And so at the end of the day, what do you end up doing? Pick a career that will bring you the good life. Not focused on money. Every smart person should not become a venture capitalist or a hedge fund person in New York. I don't give a shit. These hedge fund people, junior hedge fund people figure out how to make $800,000-$900,000 a year, and everyone's like, oh, that's so awesome. They live shitty lives. I lived in New York for one summer. I saw them wake up at 4 in the morning and go to Subway in suits at midnight. Oh, that's a great life. I would love to do that. Spend my 20s burning out, causing recessions, which is what a lot of these financiers did by creating bizarre securities that really fucked up the American economy. And that's it. Nah, man. My mentor, Joel Salatin, he eventually became a millionaire. But he got the good life. He's got health, wealth, love, happiness. He changed the world. He enjoys the moment. He has beautiful farms, land. He married his high school sweetheart. They're still happily married. He's got kids. His grandkids still around him. Like, that's what you want. Everything else, and don't believe the bullshit, because it's easy to make a social media video that makes other shit look glamorous. But at the end of the day, we haven't even talked about happiness. Do you wake up feeling energized? Warren Buffett, I like him, even though he made a lot of money, because some people, you might be somebody built to make a lot of money. I'm not poo-pooing people who make money. I make a lot more money than the average person. I'm just saying it's not the goal. It's a tool I use to get the real goal. I like what makes me happy. I like having homes around the world because I like to travel, but I don't like sleeping in hotels. So I have homes in La Jolla and San Diego, and I own a farm on the East Coast, and I have multiple homes in LA here, and I've got homes in Europe. For me, that's the good life.